So as we discussed, we have four ways of putting business logic into our applications, onto Salesforce applications without programming. We have more ways of doing this using programming, but as of now we are just discussing how we can put business logic without any programming language. So these are the four ways. First one is formula. We saw the formula thing yesterday. Second is a validation rule. Okay, so what is a validation rule? This is a rule to validate data. Pretty simple. Okay, sometimes what we need to do is we need to validate the data. Alright, and we can define some rule to validate the data automatically. For example, yesterday we created a field called duration of the project. Okay, let's take a scenario that the minimum duration of a project has to be 50 hours. Okay, minimum duration, you say, for any project that your company would take is 50 hours. They would not take any project which is less than 50 hours, and max duration for any project is, let's say, 2000 hours. If that is the case, then what happens? One, you can definitely instruct your end users that don't take any project which is less than 50 hours or more than 2000 hours in terms of duration. But the other thing can be, you also might want to put a validation rule, a system validation rule, which can automatically check whenever someone is entering the value. It can automatically check if the value being entered is between 50 and 2000 or not. All right. So that is what a validation rule is. So you can put certain validation criteria for the data being entered into any field. Okay, before the record is created, the validation rules are checked, and if there is the data which is being entered is something which does not meet the validation criteria, then it throws an error, so the record does not get entered. Okay, so let's go with this thing. Minimum duration 50 hours, maximum duration 2000 hours. All right. So let me just go ahead and define this validation. Give me a minute, let me just log in into this. Okay, so let's define the validation rule. So validation rule needs to be defined on the object. Sorry, I think I logged in into the wrong account. I'll have to log in into Anju's account. Anju, do you mind giving me the login ID password as you shared yesterday? I think the login ID I've got. Password, I think I remember. Oh, I remember the password also. That's fine. Thank you. Right. So we're going to put the validation rule. My validation is going to be on which object? Which object are we talking about? The project object, right? So we'll put a validation rule on the project object. So to put a validation rule, you just need to go to setup, create object, and select the project object. And for project object, you just have to define the validation rule. Okay, so this is a rule in that object. You will see this validation rules option available. You just need to go ahead and click on new. So you want to define a new validation rule, just go ahead and click on new validation rule. Here we click. Give a name for the validation rule. You can give it any name. Minimum and maximum duration validation. So whatever validation name you want to give. Okay, you have to make a validation rule active in order to make that active. You can also keep it inactive. Sometimes what happens is you are just creating a rule, but you don't want that rule to be active right now. So in that case, you can just make it inactive. Okay, so I'm keeping it active because I want this to be activated right now. Now in the validation rule, you have to define two things. One is the error condition and second is the error message. Okay, what condition should throw an error and what should be the error message? So condition is going to be duration less than 50. This is the error condition, right? Whenever duration is less than 50, it should throw an error message. Minimum, or just try it like this, duration of project cannot be less than 50 hours. Got this? Click on save. Okay, so my validation rule is ready. So it's pretty simple. You just need to define the condition and you need to define the error message. So we have defined error condition, which is duration. If it's less than 50 hours, that's the error condition, and this should be the error message. The rule is active, which means if you try to create a project now and you put a value which is less than 50, duration is 40, right? Click on save. See, it throws you an error. Duration of a project cannot be less than 50 hours. Fine. Now what I need to do is I need to put a maximum limit also, right? So in that case, what I'll do is I'll put an OR condition here. Or duration greater than 2000. That should also be an error, right? Do a syntax check. Throw syntax error for OR. I think we will need to use this symbol here instead of writing OR. Yeah, no syntax error. Fine. So earlier I just put one error condition, which was duration being less than 50 should throw error. Now I have said if the duration is less than 50 or if it is more than 2000, just throw this error. So that is it. Let me just quickly save it. Okay. Now I try to change it to 4000, which is more than 2000. still throws an error. Duration of a project cannot be less than 50 hours and cannot be more than 2000 hours. Is it fine? Okay with everyone? We understand this? Okay. Now I just quickly want to check one thing. How many of you were able to, do the formula thing yesterday? Budgeted cost for field. I want a quick yes no in the chat window. How many of you have done? For Anju, I think it's done on this thing. Navyata says yes. How many of you have done that budgeted cost thing? Guys, I'm waiting for the reply, man. It's either a yes or a no. So why does it take so long to reply on the chat window? Great, nice. So even if you have not done something, that's not something wrong that you have done. So please let me know, because I actually need to understand whether you have done something or not. So let's do one thing. Let's quickly, get into one thing. I want to share an activity with you. Do we have project object, every one of you? You have project object in your Salesforce app, right? Project object is there with everyone. Okay. So let's quickly do a couple of activities before we move into the workflow rules, because I just want you to understand these formula and validation rules a little better. So first thing I want you to do is we all should have the project object. All right. Step 1, I think everyone has this. So step 1 is something that everyone has. Step 2 is I want a duration field to be created. Number of hours, which should be a number field, duration. Okay. So this is the second thing. Can you just quickly do it? So first is you should have a project object. In case you do not have a project object, please go ahead and create a project object. It should not take more than 30 seconds for you to create an object. In that, I want this field to be created, duration, okay, and the field type should be number. Whoever is done with this step 2, please type a done in the chat window. Okay, quickly. So please type a done in the chat window so that I know when we all are ready to move to the next step. Yeah, so once done, please let me know. I'm waiting. So it should be a number field. So just go to the project object. In case you do not have project object, please create the project object. In that project object, then create a field. The field type should be number. So this is a simple field, number. Okay. So this is the step 2 that I want you to do. Okay, Shalini done, Navyata done, Chandu not done. Okay, fine. Chandu and Sridhar waiting for your reply. Once you're done, just let me know. Sonu, you also once done, let me know. Sonu says done. Okay. Chandu is also done. Sridhar. So step 2 is ready, right? So everyone has this duration field. Yeah, Sridhar, you're done?
Yeah, yes sir, yes sir.
Great. Okay, so now we move into step 3. Step 3 is where we are going to create the formula field. Okay, In case you have created a formula field, you are getting some error, you are not able to do it, please go ahead and delete that field. Okay, it takes 10 seconds to go ahead and delete the field. Don't be worried about that. I want you to create it afresh. If someone has created and it's working fine, don't worry, keep it as it is. Okay, so it's just for people who have not created. We'll just quickly create that formula field. Okay, so let's create a field, one more field here under project object. We'll create one more field, and this field name is going to be what was that? Budgeted cost. Okay, budgeted cost, field type should be formula, and field type should be formula, and return type should be currency. Okay, and on the formula page you just need to write the formula equals to duration into 50. That's it. Can we quickly do this? Step 3, we create another field called budgeted cost, right? Field type is going to be formula, return type is going to be currency, and formula is going to be duration into 50. So that is what we are going to do. Now this one, once you are done, please let me know. Okay, once you type the formula, after putting the formula, just do a syntax check. So it should be like this. I want everyone to parallelly do along with me. So we are under create objects project, and you should be creating one more one field, formula field. So here you should put the formula duration into 50 and click on check syntax to check the syntax error. Okay, so let's quickly finish it. Let me know once you are done. Or if you are getting any error. Okay, Navyata says done. Navyata, no error? No, great. Okay, who else is done? Step 3, budgeted cost, field type, formula, return type, currency, formula equals duration into 50. Sridhar says done. Okay, who else is done? Please let me know so that we move into the next step. Okay, Shalini, you were talking about some error that you were getting earlier. Are you still getting that error or is it fine now?
No, actually, yesterday when I
Sorry, your voice was very low. I could not understand. Can you speak a little louder or come a little close to the mic? Not able to hear you at all. No, no. Can you come a little closer to your mic and speak a little louder? Okay. My thing is, you can just type in also. Your error that you were getting yesterday, is that okay now, or you still have some issue? You want to ask something or something? Okay, now you are able to, yeah, exactly. So these are things, as Shalini said that yesterday she was trying to do the same thing, but she was not able to do it. Today she is able to do it. So this is something which I have been, telling you always, that, these are things, all these declarative things are, once you do it, you will find that these things can be easily done. So you will not have any problem, solving those small issues. All right. So yeah, you might be missing on some of those steps. In that case, you get some error, but usually you are yourself able to resolve those things. Okay. So I think almost everyone is done. That's great. So we have created this formula, right? So now my budgeted cost is 50 into duration. So flat $50 per hour duration. Chandu is also done. Great. Everyone is done with this. Okay. Now step 4 is I want to make my formula a little complex. So this is exactly what we did yesterday. I just want you all to make sure that you are able to do this. Step 4 is where I say that I just want you to edit the budgeted cost field. Edit budget. Okay. Before you get into this, sorry. Create a project and see if the formula is working fine. Okay. Let's create a project to check if the formula is working fine. Quickly. Okay, so hope project is created and it's working fine for everyone. All right, great. Now we move on to step 5. Now I have changed the logic. I have made the logic that for budgeted cost will not be multiplied by 50. I will put if else condition here. If duration is less than 100, budgeted cost equals 60 into duration. Okay. So this is what I want. Earlier my logic was that okay, budgeted cost should be 50 into duration. Now I say that the budgeted cost will depend on the duration. Okay, or hourly rate per hour rate will change with the duration. So I'm making the logic a little more complex. I want you to set the formula in for this logic. Okay, so just edit this. This is something that we discussed yesterday. So I'm not gonna give you the formula exactly. I want you to work on this, edit it, and resolve it. So let's see who all can do it on their own. People who are not able to do, definitely I'm gonna share the formula with you, but try to do it on your own. So we'll have to write an if logic that we know. So So just try to write the if logic on your own. So we just need to go to that field, edit that field, and we'll have to change the formula. We'll have to write the if condition there. So first of all, we'll write if duration less than 100, then what should be the budgeted cost, then put a comma, then write another if condition, and in that we should consider the other two scenarios. So we have three scenarios here. If duration is less than 100, if duration is 100 to 500, if duration is more than 500, right? Okay. Chandu, did you type in that field name or did you insert it?
I have inserted it.
No, you have typed it. If you insert, the field name will not be wrong. That duration underscore in underscore hours underscore
Yeah,
C.
that one I have inserted it. I mean typed it.
Don't type it, insert it. Delete this and insert the field. Instead of that underscore C, that last underscore C, that should be double underscore C actually. Okay.
Oh,
So that is an error. So to avoid these kind of small errors, never ever type the field name. Because if field name what has been given, you might make spelling mistake and all that stuff. So always try to insert it. That is the reason why insert option is available. Okay. So that's for everyone. It's a good practice to insert the field name, even if you are very sure. Some field names are really very simple, like account, contact. So you are 200% sure. So there it's okay if you are typing it, but a field name like duration in hours, so that long field name, it's always good to insert it. Now it's working fine, right, Sandhu?
just a minute.
Just insert the field name and it should be okay. Okay, anyone who is done with that formula? Okay, so for reference, I'm sharing the formula which is there on which is the one that we created yesterday. It's there on my window, so you can take reference from here. Now I think it should be helpful. Now let's see how many of you can finish it off. in next 60 seconds. This, don't copy this duration in hours, because your field name can be different from the field name which is there here. Okay, you might have given a different field name. So try to insert this field value, field name thing from here. Okay, rest everything you can just copy from here. Now whoever is done, please let me know through the chat window. With this reference, I think most of you should be able to do it. Yeah, Navita, please go ahead, tell me.
In the second condition, you said that it should be greater than 100 and it should be between 100 and 500. But in the syntax, you just gave less than 100.
Acha, see, while I'm writing the formula there, I am using the logics also. So anything which is less than 100 gets considered here itself, right? So if it is 70, 80, that gets considered here. Okay. So any value which is going into the second level of execution is definitely more than 100, right? Anything which is less than 100 is not getting into the second stage, right? So for that reason, here it's not required for me to write that if it is more than 100, and it's obvious that anything which comes into this step 2 is more than 100, correct? So this is small logic that we have used from our side. We can definitely write that if duration is greater than 500 and duration is if duration is greater than 100 and less than 500, but that is not required, because anything which is coming here, it's quite understood that it is greater than 100. That is the reason why it's coming to the second stage. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Okay. So who all have done, completed, and after completing syntax error is none? Anyone who has done and has no syntax error? You can let me know if you are getting some error also. And if you're not able to, okay, Navita says done. She's okay. If you're getting some error and you're not able to resolve it, you can let me know. Try to resolve it on your own, but if you feel that no, there's something that you're not able to understand, you can let me know as well. Navita is done. Who else is done? Sridhar, how about you?
Yes, sir. Not done.
Shalini is done. Okay. Navita done. Shalini done. Sonu, how about you? Sridhar also done. Great.
Sorry, please. I keep getting this error which I don't understand. It's saying it's an extra if. So I went back and I copied yours, but it's still now it's completely giving me a completely different error.
Sandhu is also done. Okay. So Sonu is getting some error. The rest everyone is done, I guess. All right. So I'll make you the presenter, Sonu, and we will all try to resolve your error.
Okay.
I think yesterday you were the one who was suggesting na how that what was the error with that formula.
Yeah, that was pretty easy, but this one is I
Achha,
don't
this
understand.
seems to be a little complex. So why don't you delete the entire formula and then again type it? Sometimes it happens. Okay, you say duration. What is the error? Incorrect number of parameters.
So I think first thing I think, and this was one of my questions. So if if you were not there, I would have just done this, right? I would have said if, right? And then I would have said
No, so the second if condition that you have written, there you have just defined two things, right? Condition, what happens if the condition is true? The second line. So it's for everyone. See, what she has done is she has written an if condition, and if condition is if function has three sections. First is the condition. Second is what happens if the condition is true. Third is what happens if the condition is false. So that part is missing. So if duration is, first of all, you write a duration less than 500. You have written equals, just change that.
oh, okay.
So that's just, that is not the error actually, but I just want to, no, not this one. On the second line itself, there is an equal to sign there, right? We want it to be less
Right.
than 500. Just change it.
Change this equal to sign.
Make it less than. Less than. This is greater than.
Greater than less than 500. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So see, we have given the condition. If duration less than 500, then budgeted cost should be equals to duration into 50, right? After 50, you need to give one more comma.
After 50 is a comma.
There should be a comma, and then you make it duration into 40.
Duration.
Into 40.
Okay.
So this is if the condition is false. If it is less than 500, then it should be duration into 50. If it is not less than 500, then it should be duration into 40. Okay. Now you have made one more mistake here. That the first line, end of first line, that should be a comma, not the parenthesis close. Delete
So
that.
this was my
put a comma.
question actually.
Put a comma.
So
And
even I
second
didn't in
line.
your form I didn't understand these parameter parentheses that come in. What is the logic of using these parentheses? I mean, why? So that's what I was trying to show you, that
I will.
if I would have done this, I would have done it if this. and if this is not there, then follow this if duration this, and exactly the way I had done before.
I will explain
so
that to
you're
you.
saying I can't do this, right?
No.
This is incorrect.
This is incorrect. Just give a comma. Okay. Now just close one more parenthesis at the end.
Yeah.
And now do a syntax check. No syntax error. Okay, I'll explain it to you. Just give let me share my screen. And I'll tell you why that is happening. Just give me 1 minute. Let me make myself the presenter. Okay, this if function, you can take it from here. We have all these functions. See, if is a logical function, so you can take the if function from here. So, this is the basic structure of an if function. So, if function has 3 sections, as I told you: logical test, okay, value if true, and then value if false. In this case, what we have done, we have put a parent if, okay. The first is parent if, where logical test is if the value is less than 100 or not. D less than 100. This is the logical test. Okay. If D is less than 100, if it is true, then I say that budgeted cost equal D into 60. Okay. If that's not the case, I want to put one more if inside that. That is the reason why I'm not closing the parenthesis. I've just given a comma here. And now there is a child if inside this. Okay, got it? So what I have done, I have inserted another if here. So got it? So that is the reason why there are 2 parentheses being closed at the end. So now the next logical test is duration less than 500 or not. If that's the case, then make it D into 50, else make it D into 40. Correct? So this is how the structure is. So this is another if condition. So a nested if inside the parent if. Correct?
Jeet, a quick question. So if I want, there's a third sort of a condition to it. So how will we put that?
So then put it here. So let's say you have one more level of condition. If it is more than 1000, then it should be something else. Then instead of this,
okay,
insert one more if condition here. Correct? So that is how it should be done. Clear with everyone? Anyone else has a question on this? This formula part is very interesting. It makes your app, do some really good stuff and makes your app very efficient. This kind of budgeted cost calculation and stuff like this is there for sure. But there are a lot of other things that you can do using the formulas, and it can be used a lot in Salesforce, right? So it completely depends on how you use these formulas. Any function that you want to understand a little more in details, you can always select that function and click on help on this function. Okay, so if you click on this, it will open a new link and it will show you the details of that function. See, so on this page you will actually be able to see all the functions I to Z. With example, okay, but this is more like a reference dictionary which you can use when you are required to. Don't try and go through all these functions, because it will take too much of your time and you will not understand most of the things if you start reading it like this. Okay, I will give you another document. I'm going to share a PDF with you which has a lot of examples, and you will benefit a lot from that PDF. Okay, so those are examples which make a lot of sense to you, and you can try those. Okay, so for your practice, I'm going to share a PDF with you.
Read a quick question. How do you think is the best way to practice these?
Think of logic.
Because,
So the best way is, see, writing a formula is definitely not something which is expected out of a Salesforce developer. Concept of where the formula can be used, that is the best. That is what is expected out of a Salesforce developer. So like I gave you scenarios. You people came up with the scenarios. Think of more scenarios. What all fields can be automated using formulas? Think of it. Right, because you are independent to think of your own logics and all that stuff for like budgeted cost. This way you can think of more fields and try to populate the values of those fields. Like for an example, there's a contract start date and the company says that a contract is of 300 days. Okay, now what you can do is you can automatically populate a contract end date, right? So try to put these kind of formulas, think of these logics, and then you can actually do that. Correct? So there are a lot of examples which I'm going to share in a PDF. You can see where these formulas can be used. Think on those lines and try to implement those things on your project or on your application that you're designing. That is the best way of doing it. Correct? See, writing the formula is not the tough part. Again, trust me on this. Because this is something which anyone who works on database or anyone who has worked a little on Excel can easily do it. Not sure how much work you people have done on Excel, but most of the time people who work on something like Salesforce, they are used to working on Excel. So writing a formula is a very simple stuff which you will also be very familiar with once you start working on it. But thinking where we can use formula to reduce the manual effort, that is the most important part. Okay, so you need to understand the concepts where I can automate things using formula and make my application a little better one. Right? Okay, so for this formula, just give me 1 minute. Let me share this PDF as I was telling you. Just give me 1 minute. I will need to search the PDF and I'm going to send it to you. Okay. Here it is. I think you can see my screen. So this is a PDF. It has a few good examples of formula, used cases of formula. Okay. You can go through this PDF. This is not something that you will be able to finish it in a day or something, but you can definitely browse through the ones that look interesting to you. Try to write those formulas and stuff. Okay. Like account rating. So this is a good example. This formula evaluates annual revenue, billing country and type and assigns a value hot, warm and cold to the account, right? So this can be a requirement. The company wants the account to be rated hot, warm or cold. Sometimes the companies have a system of rating the accounts as A, category B, category C accounts, right? And they can have their own criteria of segregating the accounts, which one goes into category A, which one goes into category B and which one goes into category C. So they can have their own way of doing that. So this is a good formula for doing that. And contract aging. Okay, so this formula calculates the number of days since a contract with an account was activated. So how many days the contract is active. month of service level expiration. So which month the service level expire. So there are certain formulas which are used, like month formula is used here. Okay. So in which month the service level agreement expires. This is a good one. The BBC News search, or we just don't go into BBC News search. We have a Google search. So this formula creates a link to a Google search site using the account name. So it will automatically create a link field, hyperlink field. Okay. And you can just click on the link and it will take you to the Google search page, searching that account name. So this is again one good formula. So this way there are a lot of formulas. One, this PDF will give you enough examples to practice on the formulas and be good in the formulas. Second, this will give you a lot of understanding of things which you can speak during interviews, right? So you can take ideas from here and implement these things in your app that you're designing. So during interview also you can speak about these things, that I created this kind of formula. If you're asked a question like what kind of a formula did you create, have you worked on formulas, what did you do with formula, you can just have 2 or 3 of them which you are really comfortable with, and you can speak about them. The ones that you feel are good for your app, you can speak about them, that okay fine, I used a formula for creating this kind of a hyperlink, I used a formula for segregating the accounts, I used a formula for segregating the leads. So now we are talking about segregating accounts. The same way leads can be segregated, cases can be segregated, high priority case, low priority case, that sort of thing. Opportunities can be segregated, high value opportunities, low value opportunities, that sort of thing, right? So a lot of things can be done. So from here you will get a lot of ideas. All right, I'm going to share this PDF with everyone. Okay, people who feel that I do not have their email IDs, people who have never sent me a test email, or people who I have never sent an email to, can drop me a personal chat, so that I have your email ID and I can send this PDF to you. Okay, so that's about the formula thing, and I have told you earlier also, apart from this PDF, as I told you, you have these operators and functions link here. This will also take you to the complete list of all the functions which are there within Salesforce, and you can check the functions. Whenever you want a reference of some function, you can always use that. Right? So that's what we have here for the formulas thing. Now let's go to the same activity that we were doing. The next activity that needs to be done, step 6 for the same activity, put a validation rule on the same app, and the validation rule should be minimum duration 50 hours, 50, and maximum duration 2000. Okay. So can we quickly do this validation rule? So we just need to go to setup, create object, project, and define the validation rule. Please create the validation rule. In the meanwhile, I will share this PDF with you all. And whoever is done with that validation rule, please let me know. Chandu, can you just type in a message with your email ID?
Sorry, Ji, this is Sonu. Did you say Sonu?
No, I said Chandu. Sonu, I got your email ID.
Thank you.
Sridhar, I have received. I need Chandu's email ID. Got it. Thanks, Chandu. I had that email ID, but I was not sure for Chandra, because there are a lot of Chandra that are there in the list. Okay. Yeah, so who is done? Validation rule. Okay, I just sent an email to everyone. In case anyone has not received that email, you can just check and let me know. Okay. So validation rule, who all are done? Okay. Let me ask who all are not done. Navita is done. So validation rule works fine for everyone. Yes, great. So it's working for everyone. Nice. So let us now get into the third logic, third business logic, which we were just talking about. which is a workflow rule. Okay. Now workflow, we have seen formula and we have also seen the validation rule. So in formula what we do is we automatically calculate the value of a field, right, using the formula. Using validation rule we try to validate the data of a certain field, right. Third is the workflow rule. Okay. So now what are we going to do with this workflow rule is, this is again a rule that allows you to automate some action. You can automate some action using this rule. A workflow rule is used for automating actions, right? So it's not like the validation rule. Validation rule will just validate the data, but in case you want to send an automated email, that is something which can be done using the workflow rule. Okay, so workflow rule, as the name suggests, it's a rule that initiates a workflow or initiates an action. Okay, so now when I say it can initiate some action, now you might be thinking what actions can be initiated using a workflow rule, right? What all actions can be done? So we'll just talk about what all actions can be done using the workflow rule. So first is email alert can be sent. Second is a field can be updated. Third is a task can be assigned. Task assignment. Fourth is outbound message. So these 4 actions can be automated using the workflow rule. You can automatically send an email. Okay. For example, every time a lead is created, an email should be sent to that lead. Okay. You can update some field. This is more like a formula only. You can update a field automatically. You can assign a task to a user. Okay. So create a task for a user. Let's say every time a lead is created, you create a task for the lead owner to call the lead. So that sort of thing. Outbound message is basically sending the data to an external system. So this is something that we will discuss later. These 3 things are internally within Salesforce. This outbound message is something which sends the data outside Salesforce to an external system. Okay. So that is what we have here. So now we'll learn how to create a workflow rule. Okay. So what we are going to do is I'll take an example and we'll do that. Send an automated email to a lead. Okay. When a new lead is created with email. So every time a lead is created which has an email ID, an automated email should be sent to that particular email ID. Fine, that is what we want to do. Alright. So let's do this example. It's pretty simple. So you just have to go to setup. Okay. And under setup you have to go to develop, sorry, not develop, create. Go to setup, create, workflow and approvals, and click on workflow rules. Okay. So this time you don't have to go to object and all that stuff. You can straight away go into workflow rules. From setup, create, workflow and approvals, click on workflow rules. That's it. Clicked on this. This is a little details about workflow. So as I told you, workflow automates the following types of actions. So these 4 actions can be automated, as I told you. So you can just click on continue for now. Create a new rule. Okay. Now, which object are we talking about here? What is the example that we are going to do? Send an automated email to a lead when a new lead is created. So which object are we talking about here? Lead. So where is the lead object? Here it is. Okay, select the object which you actually want to create the workflow for. Go to next. Give the rule name, whatever rule name you want to give. Very simple. Select the object, give a rule name, auto email to lead. Give it whatever rule name you want to give. Description, in case you want to put a description, you can just put a one-liner description. Okay. Now you have to put 2 things. One is an evaluation criteria. A workflow rule will have an evaluation criteria and a rule criteria. What is evaluation criteria? When do you want the rule to be evaluated? I want the rule to be evaluated when a new lead is created. See? So when do you want that action to happen? When a new record is created, or when a record is created and every time it's edited. Okay, do you want the action to take place when the record is being edited or when it is being created? Can we have the microphones on mute, please? There's a bit of noise. Yeah, thank you. So evaluation criteria is where you define when the lead is created or when the lead is created as well as when it's edited. Okay, and the third is created and anytime it's edited to subsequently meet criteria. Okay, so there is a thin line between the second and third. First one is completely different. It gets evaluated only when a new record is created. There is a small difference between the second and third one. So the second one is whenever it's created and every time it's edited. Okay, so and third one is if it is edited to meet the criteria. So that is the difference. Got it? So for the second one, the action will take place whenever the record is edited. No matter if it is being edited to meet the criteria or it's just being edited like that. In the third scenario, it will be, this evaluation criteria will initiate the action only if the record is being edited to subsequently meet criteria, which means before edit it was not meeting criteria, after edit it has started meeting criteria, then only the action will take place. Okay, so mine is created. I'm pretty okay with that. What is the rule criteria? Any particular criteria for the record. So what is my rule criteria? The lead should have an email ID with email. So that email field should not be blank. So lead email equals, not equals, includes, greater than, it's not equals blank. That's it. So my rule condition is that email should not be blank. Evaluation criteria is that every time the record is created, and I should just click on save and next. Okay. Okay. So we have defined the condition and everything. Now there is only one thing that we have to do, that is defining the action. So specify the action. Condition we have defined. Now what action should happen if that condition is met? This is where we add that action, add workflow action. So click on this. Whatever action you want to perform. I want to send an email alert. So just say new email alert, give it any name, email alert 1. Select the email template because it's an automated email which will be sent, so you'll have to select the email template. Okay, so you can just click on this, and there are a lot of email templates which are already there. You can select one of these. We also have an option of creating our own template. In the setup, if you scroll down, you will see something called communication template under setup. Under communication template, you have email templates. Okay, so you also have an option of creating your own email template. Okay, so you can create your own email template with your own subject line, own body. So these email templates are basically of different types. It can be text, it can be HTML. Text format is a plain text email template which does not have any formatting. Okay, HTML is the one which has formatting. So you can change the colors, the font sizes, the fonts, all that stuff, right? So let me use a text email template only. Let me create my own email template. Make sure that the email template that you're creating, you're making it available for use. Give it a name, whatever it you want. Subject line and body. So this way you can create your own email template, right? Now, if you want to send it to a lead, then first line should have the lead name, right? So in that case, what you can do is you can merge that field. So how do you do that? At the top, you have this merge field option available, merge fields. So I want to send this email template to leads, right? So I should select lead fields, lead first name, select that. Okay, select the object, select the field, it will give you the merge value. Copy this and paste it here. So now what will happen? It will automatically take the first name of the lead from here. Okay, whichever lead it's sending. If the lead name is Sridhar, it will say dear Sridhar. If the lead's name is Sonu, it will say dear Sonu. So that is how it's gonna work. So this merge value will automatically come here. So whichever fields value you want here, you can always take it from here. You can select the object, you can select the field, and you can copy the merge field value from here and put it in the email body wherever you want to. Okay, so this way you can create your own email template and use it. So my email template is ET1. I'm going to use it in my email alert. See, now this email template appears here. I just created this, right? So I'm going to use this email template. Then define who is going to be the recipient of the email. Who should receive the email? Who is the recipient for my email?
Lead.
Lead.
Oh,
Yeah.
lead.
Yeah. So lead is the object, and inside that object there is a field called email field that I'm going to send it to that email, right? So here you say email field. So inside this, okay, if you want to send it to a user or someone else, you can send that. If you want to send it to account owner, you can do that and all that stuff. But in this case, we want to send it to the email field which is within the lead, right? So that's it. Along with defining the email of the recipient, you can also copy 5 additional email addresses. Let me copy to my email address. Alright, so these 5 email addresses will be copied on the email. Sometimes it may happen that every time you're sending an email you want to copy someone. So that can be done. Got it? Okay. What should be the from email address? While the email is being sent, what should be the from email address? So current user's email address can be the from email address. That's fine. If you have multiple users, then you have that option of defining from whose email it should go. If let's say if I am a user, Anju is a user, and Shalini is a user, then I can define that okay, it should go from Shalini's email address or Anju's email address. But now there's only one user, so let it be that. Save it. Done. So the workflow is defined, the rule is defined, criteria defined, action defined, everything is done. Once you're ready with everything, you can click on done. Okay. Before you go into the done stage, these workflow actions are of two types: immediate workflow actions and time dependent workflow actions. Okay. What is immediate action and what is time dependent action? Immediate is something which will happen immediately. Okay. Which means the moment lead is created, instantly the email will be sent. Sometimes you don't want this kind of action. Sometimes you want the action to be delayed by some time. The lead is created today, tomorrow the email should be sent. You may have that kind of requirement. In that case, you should use time dependent workflow action. Okay. If you don't want the action to happen instantly, you want that to be delayed by some time, you can always add a time trigger. Like time trigger, I said after 1 day you want to send an email. So just add a time trigger 1 day after rule trigger. So you can define certain actions to happen after 1 day of the rule trigger. Again, you can add your actions here. Correct? Then just click on done. And the rule is ready. The only thing that needs to be done now is to activate the rule. Okay. A workflow rule, before it starts working, you always have to activate it. Why this activate option is there? Because sometimes you might not want this rule to work, right? At that time you should simply deactivate the rule. You can just activate the rule and deactivate the rule. Got it? So I can activate the rule here. Click on OK. Default workflow user can be Anju. Save it. So my rule is active now. Now if I create a lead, an email will be sent to that lead with the same subject line and the body. Got it? If you don't want this rule to work, you just deactivate it for the time being. Sometimes it happens now that you do not want to send the emails. Just temporarily switch it off. So just deactivate the rule. The same thing is applicable for validation rules also. Activate and deactivate them. Alright, are we clear on the workflow rule? It's very simple. So for workflow rule, you just have to understand a few things. So it's basically automating some actions. What all actions can be automated? These 4 actions can be automated. Automatically an email can be sent, field can be updated, task can be assigned, outbound message. This can be done. Alright. So we just have to choose the object for which we want to define the workflow rule, define evaluation criteria, and rule criteria, and define the immediate actions or time dependent action. You can have both, you can have one of them, whatever. That's it. And your workflow rule is ready. And finally, activate it. So a lot of you will have error, once you have created the workflow rule and then you will think that it's not working. That will be because you might not have activated the rule. Okay. So let me quickly go and check if my workflow rule is working. lead, so it should be under sales app. So let me create a lead. Let's see. Active. Okay, thank you. So lead is created. Now the email should get sent. My rule was active. So because I was copied on that email, I should receive the mail. See, here it is. I received the email. Dear Sridhar, hi, how are you? Right? Got that thing? So that is how workflow rule works. So let me just quickly deactivate it and remove my email ID also. Okay. Done. Right. So I basically, this workflow rule can also be used for saving a lot of time on your application. So, saving a lot of manual time and again enhancing the quality of the work. So sometimes what happens that these kind of emails which are to be sent by individuals, they're not able to send these kind of emails because they don't have time and stuff like that, and this all goes waste. Or there is no track of whether the email was sent or not sent and all that stuff. But with the workflow rule, it will definitely get sent. Like every time you receive an email, welcome email being sent to the lead. Every time there is a case, you just want to send an acknowledgement email to the case, the person who has raised the case, that we have received the case, we are working on it, and we are going to resolve it in next 24 hours or 48 hours, whatever. Right? If you're not able to resolve it in 48 hours, you should send another acknowledgement. So usually what happens, these kind of communication are usually not done if it is manual. Sometimes, there can be human errors and the mails might not go. But with this workflow, one, it saves a lot of time. Secondly, it makes sure that the mails and the communication is being done and not, right? Okay. Now that's about the workflow. Now the fourth one is a approval process. Okay. So an approval process is similar to a workflow rule. An approval process is similar to a workflow rule. Okay. However, it's similar to workflow in terms of defining an approval process. The thing is a little similar to workflow rule, but there is a small difference. What is the difference? The difference is that approval process is a complete approval process, right? So here it's an automated approval process where the approval process gets initiated, then it is either approved or rejected by the, so there is an email which goes to the approver and then the approver either approves or rejects it. Okay, so this is an automated approval process. Okay, so it's pretty simple. What happens here is approval process is initiated, goes to approver, it's either approved or rejected by approver. So all these things happen automatically, so you don't have to manually do things. Okay, so let's say in the validation rule we defined a validation criteria. We said that maximum duration can be 2000 hours. Okay, let's say the company now feels that they should take big projects which are more than 2000 hours, but those should be approved by the project manager or the head of operations. So the company has decided that they are okay to take those projects, but those should get approved. Okay, they need an approval for that. All right. So now what we can do is we are going to define an approval process for that, so that the projects which are more than 2000 hours in duration go for approval to the head of operations. All right. So first of all, I should go and deactivate the validation rule, because otherwise validation rule will create a problem. It will not allow me to create the records with more than 2000 hours. So first of all, go to the project validation rule, and deactivate the validation rule. It's active, just go and make it inactive. So now this rule is not active anymore. Okay, so I have the project object under project management. What I want to do is I want all the projects which are more than 2000 hours in duration, I want them to be sent for approval. All right. So there's one more thing I need. I need one more field on project called approval status. Right? I need one more field on project which is called approval status. All right. So this approval status is something which will be a pick list, and the status of the approval will be controlled using the approval process. All right. So let me create an approval status field. So we'll just go to setup. So I'll create one more field which is an approval status field. Go to next, approval status. Okay, the options which are there for approval status are
pending, approved,
pending, approved, rejected, not required. Okay. I will make this field as a read-only field because I don't want the end user to edit this field. Approval status will be controlled by the approval process, right? So let me make it a read-only field. Save it. So field is created. Now we start writing the approval process. So for approval process, again you go to setup, create workflows and approvals. Go to approval processes. Okay. And under that we select project object. Here it is. So my approval process is for the project object. Selected. Select this one. Use the Jumpstart wizard for creating an approval process. Okay. Jumpstart wizard is a simpler, easier and faster way of creating the approval process. So just use that. Give a name to the approval process. Big project approval. Okay. Now I would define the entry criteria for the approval process. So you can have, and you have an option. See, entry criteria is not a must. You can have an entry criteria. What is entry criteria? Which records need approval? Okay. Sometimes you can have a condition, a situation where all the records need approval. But in this case, there is a condition. What is entry criteria for us? All projects don't need approval, right? Which projects need approval?
More than 2000.
More than 2000. What more than 2000? Duration more than 2000. Right? So duration greater than 2000 hours. So in this case we have an entry criteria. So all the records which are less than 2000, they don't need an approval. So that is what we are defining here. So that's fine. Select the approver. Now you'll have to choose the approver. Now there are several ways of getting the approval. First and the simplest way is let the submitter choose the approver manually. So in that case, the person who is submitting the record for approval, at that time he will have a choice of selecting the approver. He can send it to for approval to anyone. Okay, that's not the case that we want. Automatically assign an approver using a hierarchy. So maybe send it to send it for an approval to the manager. Okay, so that can be one case. You can assign it to a certain queue. Okay, queue is basically collection of users. Automatically assigned to a certain approver. So for example, in this case we were saying that all these approvals will go to the head of operations or one particular person. So in that case you can go ahead and select that particular person. Let's say Anju is the head of operations and it needs to go to her. Okay. When you are sending it to a defined approver, then you have an option of sending it to multiple approvers also. Like let's say there are 3 people who need to approve it, or either of 3 can approve it. Then you can add rows and add those people. Okay. So but in our case there is just one person who needs to approve it. That's fine. In case you are selecting, when multiple approvers are selected, then you have these 2 options. Now there is only one approver, so it doesn't make a difference. But if there are multiple approvers, then you have 2 options. First option is approve or reject based on the first response. Or second option is require unanimous approval from all selected approvers. Okay. So when you are sending an approval request to 3 people, you can have 2 scenarios. One scenario, anyone approves, it should be considered as approved. And second scenario is when all of them need to approve, right? So, but in this case there is just one approver, so I don't need to get into this. But this is just for your understanding. Sometimes you might be dealing with multiple approvers. That's it. Now the interesting part. Criteria, condition, everything defined. Now you will just need to click on view approval process detail page. Now in workflow, what did we do? After defining the criteria, we defined the action. In approval process also you will have to define the action. Okay. So in approval process, after you have, what you have to define? You have to define the object, entry criteria, which we have defined. Select who is the approver, which you have done. Now you have to define action. But here it's not just immediate action or time dependent action. Here actions are at different stages. Once the record is submitted for approval, what action should happen when the record is submitted? What should happen if the record is approved? What action should happen if the record is rejected, if it is not approved? What should happen if the record is recalled? Some record which was submitted for approval is recalled, then what happens, right? So you have to define actions at all these stages. Okay, so that is what is given here. On this page you will see different actions: initial submission actions, final approval actions, final rejection actions, recall actions. Okay, so you have to define actions for each of these stages. Okay, it's okay if you don't define recall actions. So initial submission, what do I want to do? I want to update the field. Which field? Approval status, right? So this time it's not email alert. You can send an email also, but I don't want to send an email. I want to update the field. So this time it's going to be a field update. Add new field update. Give it any name. Which field we need to update? Approval status. What should be the value of that field? Should get updated to pending. Okay. So submission action is update that field into pending. Final approval action. So on the final approval action, I will update the same field, but this time the value should get updated to approved. Give it any name. Which field we want to update? Approval status. Click on next. Okay. So final approval action is update the field to approved. Final rejection action. Field update. Update the field to rejected. Correct? Tell me if that's clear. So we have defined action for initial submission, we have defined action for approval step, and we have defined action for rejection step, right? So actions are defined, criteria defined, everything is there. Now what is the last thing that we need to do before it starts working? Activate it. Click on activate. Your approval process is active now. Now if you create a project, go to now if I create a project, start date, end date, duration 3000 hours. The record is created, right? You will have to submit it for approval. As of now, the project is not approved. So you will need to submit it for approval. Okay, approval process does not start automatically. You have to manually click on submit for approval. The moment you submit it for approval, click on OK. See, the value of approval status automatically becomes pending and the record gets locked. The record has got locked now. Why? Because once it is in the approval process, it should be locked so that the values are not changed between submission and approval or rejection, whatever. Okay. Now Anju, can you please check your email and see if you have received an approval request on an email? So whoever is the approver will receive an email. Yeah, Anju has received an email. Okay. Now what she can do is she can actually click on that link, so that email will have a link. So Anju, do you mind if I share your screen and you click on that link? Just don't click on that now. I'll share your screen and then you can click on that. Yeah. Click on that link. See. Achha, you will need to log in into your system. See, when the approver clicks on the link, he will have this option. He can put a comment and then he can either approve or reject the record. Okay. So he can actually, think about whether he has to approve the project or reject the project. Whatever the approver clicks on, the record will automatically get updated, by that value. So that pick list value will automatically get updated to either approved or rejected. So you just approve it. So now we'll see that the approval status automatically got updated to approved. See, approval status field. Yeah, it automatically got updated to approved. Okay, so any record which is approved stays logged only. Okay, it does not get unlocked, because the logic is, anything which has been approved by the approver should not be then allowed to be edited. Otherwise, what will happen? You will apply for a leave for 3 days. Your manager approves that 3 days leave, and then you will go and edit it and make it 7 days. So that should not happen. For that reason, anything which has been approved, that stays locked. If the approver rejects it, then it gets unlocked. Got it? Clear on this? Approval process. So it's very similar to workflow rule, and it's a step-by-step process. It is again something which is very useful, very helpful. It can let you save a lot of time, because these processes can be automated. So you can use approval process. This is also something which is used very frequently in our Salesforce apps. But approval process is a little less common because every company does not have an requirement of an approval and all that stuff. But validation and workflows are very common, and formulas as well. Approvals depends on the clients. The client may have a requirement of doing an approval or not, but it's not something which can be used on every project or every app. But validations, formulas, workflows, they are used almost for every app, right? Okay. So I'm going to share a couple of more documents. One is for the workflow rule. The way I shared one for formulas, the same way I'm going to share one for the workflow rules and one for approval process. Okay, so they have in those documents you will have a few examples of workflow rules. I'm just going to show it to you. Give me a minute. Let me just open the Okay. So here we are. If you see on my screen, there is this PDF for workflow examples. So notify account owner of updates by others, set reminder for high value opportunities. So it's the same way, as I gave you some examples for formulas, there are a few examples of workflows in this PDF, and there I'm going to share one more PDF which has a few examples on the approval processes, right? So you can use these examples to learn to understand these things more, as well as to have concepts which can be spoken during the interviews. So these are all use cases and good examples that can be used. Right. So these two things again I'm going to share. I'm hoping everyone received my previous email, right? The formula thing. So if you have received that one, I think you will receive this one also. I'm going to just send it to the same list. All right. Okay.